on that particular topic. So the other thing that I have also been looking at and now using is a video player which stores the images in Amazon S3. So again, chunky files which you can hold them off site and not necessarily have them in YouTube or the equivalent or Vimeo. You can actually play them direct off Amazon S3. So if anyone's interested, I can show that as well.
Sounds good.
Okay, so that is a module called a component called All Video Share. So essentially, in that case, you can add a video. It's fine. It's uploaded. Basically, and again, it wasn't really obvious that you could host images in Amazon S3, but this module allows you to do exactly that by calling it a self-hosted video or an external URL, and then constructing a link direct out to your video, selecting direct link. So what that does basically is creates a video which you can then play and embed in an article or a module. So how that looks is, and you can obviously have approval queues and various other things, but in its simplest form, we can upload a video one way or another to Amazon S3 and add it manually, or in this case, I'm doing it programmatically. And then use some clever code and a short code to display the video in a player based on the video's actual ID. And there's some other rough and ready information about the video here. So how that looks in real life is it basically just sits here as a video. And again, this is the free version because I'm still just in testing mode. You can get rid of this nag screen info. But basically, this is playing from an Amazon S3 bucket direct. So, but you can put them into into any regular article, just using a simple shortcode.
What formats support, do you know? Yep.
Yeah, well, MP4s at least.
Yep. Cool. That's all you need. Yeah.
That's all you need. Basically, the All Video Share it's called. So you can add a video. You can also add YouTube, Vimeo, HLS, or a third-party embed code.
Nice.
As your type. In our case, we're using self-hosted and a direct URL. But you can also upload the file and store it on your own server. Slug is the alias, basically. All categories and various other things, and whether or not you want to publish it, etc., etc.
So what's the difference between video and HD video? Like,
I haven't investigated anything other than MP4s for my purpose.
Cool. No, just meaning there's two separate fields for uploading. It's got video and HD video. Like you can upload a separate low resolution version or something.
That's probably correct.
Mm.
But there's more than I could tell you because I haven't investigated that in any way, shape, or form. I've simply used this option because it worked and it suited my purpose immediately. But one of the other things you can do is configure the players. So on that, on the tab, you would have seen the shortcode said AWS player or AVS player, the video ID, and then the player number. So basically, you can configure different players for different configurations with different settings. You can have the control bar switched on or not, duration dock on or not, timer, etc., etc. So if I created, I'll see if I can duplicate that. No, I can't. I'll just create a new one. And switch some of these things on. Control bar, duration dock, time dock, full screen dock, and share dock. I'll just turn those on. Save. So it's player number 2. So if I go back to my article here and change this player to player ID 2, you'll see that if I refresh this page now, we've got all of the features that we share buttons.
That's a nice feature.
What's that?
That's a nice feature.
Yeah, it's really quick to change. And so you can have an unlimited number of these players, and simply just changing that shortcode is all that it takes to make that change happen. So that's pretty.
I'm not sure why you'd actually use more than one style on a website, but it's good to be able to set it up yourself, really.
Yeah, so that's good. I'm not sure what happens if I disable it. If it goes back to the default one. We should try that, I suppose. And again, this is just the free version. The pro version has the option to remove
Mr. Vinoff.
yeah, the Mr. Vinoff.com little logo and stuff. Right. But yeah, pretty simple little player, but it took a little bit of finding to find one that would play directly off Amazon S3. So I had two sort of requirements, one for image storage and one for video storage from S3, which sort of collided. And so I was looking through the Joomla extension gallery for anything that had Amazon vaguely mentioned in it, and happened across these both. So two separate requirements, but both equally useful. So there we go. That's any questions on either of those two things? No? You can also, yeah, you can. I haven't used this and I haven't really looked into it too much, but you can also add advertisements on your videos as well, which I think if you're using this instead of using YouTube or some of the other with already built-in advertising, then you probably wouldn't want to be adding advertising yourself, but you could. And there is also a function, a front-end function you can allow users to submit videos. Now they'll be locally only videos, as far as I'm aware, so we haven't used that.
I think that was one of the pro options. You could allow users to submit YouTube and perhaps Vimeo it was, I think.
But I don't think you can upload them straight to S3, which is what my requirement was.
No, yes.
So a custom page which allows me to do exactly that. So
It's very impressive, Stuart. Hope they're paying you for that.
oh yeah, I'm getting paid for that.
Yeah, good.
Some of it.
Hmm.
I was halfway through all this. Well, in fact, slightly more than halfway through this when my computer decided to crash and corrupt its SSD drive. So I've built this twice.
Oh no.
Second time was faster.
And so is just out of interest, the form upload or the video uploader you've built, that's just like a custom component?
Yeah, it's actually, I built it to make it functional, but I've got a few things to tidy up on it. But basically, it will be a component with configurable options for the bucket name, location, all those sort of things. So it'll have a little bit of flexibility on that end. But yeah, I intend to make it a publishable module.
Nice.
Okay.
So it's very plain. It's not very exciting, but it's functional.
Yeah, no designers had a look at that, have they, Stuart? No.
No. I was
Has it been through a UX workshop or anything like that? No.
been through an ESR workshop. That's the only workshop it's been through.
Yeah.
So not pretty, but I mean the intent was to have a proof of concept which actually can function while we fix all the other sort of minor details. So for example, this branch is reform, and that's going to be a lookup. That's going to be a lookup from Joomla, etc., etc. So a few more options, but it works. So that's the main objective at this moment.
Hmm.
But you know, cobbling together a couple of sort of already parts of the equation, having this build both the video and then the article, which can be then modified at any stage manually. At least it's getting this stuff in there pretty hands-free. So
Yeah, it's an MVP. I heard that in a marketing meeting a few years ago, and I was like, hey, most valuable player, what are you on about? They meant a minimum viable product.
yeah, it's certainly minimalist. But yeah, so one of the challenges with it was obviously size of video files can be quite large. So I had to do some trickery on in page setting the maximum file limit so that it didn't time out if it got a big video. So it can be different on this upload page to your core upload maximum file size for Joomla, for example. So
Right.
it doesn't actually load it to the server first. In this case, it basically directly uploads the video file to Amazon.
So it just depends on your internet connection then, I guess.
Yeah. So this is why I have this message down the bottom here. It may take some time. So, but that's the only other thing they'll get is a whirling icon at the top of the page, on a large video, but I have tested it with a gigabyte and it uploads successfully. So
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Does it use Ajax or anything to do the uploading? Sorry.
no, actually, it's not Ajax. It's just straight ordinary PHP.
Yeah, cool.
And behind the scenes is a bit of there's an Amazon S3 SDK, so it's built-in part of that, and that would have to be part of my install. Would have to be to install that as well to make that all run. So as a module,
All right. So it requires additional libraries.
correct. But when I do an installer, I'll make sure that's all included so that it can be just deployed.
Yeah.
But, yeah.